Spiritual Discourses of Baba Somanath, disciple of Huzur Baba Sawan Singh, today on Spiritual Awakening Radio. Sawan Singh gathered a large following of disciples from around the world. Among his devotees were Dr. Julian P. Johnson, Dr. Pierre Schmidt, Colonel C.W. Sanders, Sant Kirpal Singh, founder of Ruhani Satsang, Sant Darshan Singh, founder of Sawan Kirpal Ruhani Mission, Baba Somanath, Pritam Das, and several government officials in both the British and Indian ranks. A quote from David C. Lane in the book Enchanted Land. One can also include on this list another prominent disciple of Sawan Singh by the name of Shah Mastana Ji. Baba Somanath Ji was born on the 7th of September, 1885, and passed on November 28, 1976. And that's why there's some YouTube videos of him singing hymns or bhajans and giving talks in Hindi, since he passed on fairly recently in terms of history and got a chance to be filmed to some extent. In 1927, Baba Somanath met a school teacher in the Beas railway station who directed him to Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj. Baba Sawan Singh was very pleased with Somanath Ji's seva and behavior and initiated him into the path of Surat Shabd Yoga, inner light and sound meditation, in January 1928. He stayed at Beas for 3.5 years practicing Surat Shabd Yoga and achieved his cherished goal. In 1932, he sought the gracious permission of his Satguru to return to Mumbai. Sawan Singh blessed him and commanded him to propagate the principles of Sant Mat in South India, where it was most unknown. During today's Sant Mat Satsang Podcast edition of Spiritual Awakening Radio, some verses of Swamiji Maharaj from the Sar Bachan Radhasoami poetry, the mystic poetry of Swamiji, with commentary by Baba Somanath, and I will interject some comments and footnotes here and there to provide clarity and open this up to a wider audience, explaining certain terms that appear in this satsang discourse of Baba Somanath. A collection, in fact, of newly translated satsang discourses of Baba Somanath made by Christopher McMahon, who also has translated a collection of the bhajans or mystic hymns of Baba Somanath into English, and these have recently appeared on the official Baba Ram Singh website. It's really great to have all of this material from Baba Somanath now in English, thanks to the work of Christopher McMahon. A spiritual discourse, a satsang talk by Baba Somanath, based upon mystic verses of the Sar Bachan Poetry of Swamiji Maharaj. A verse from the Sar Bachan Poetry of Swamiji. The Guru says all the world is blind. No one grasps the secret of the inner way. Commentary by Baba Somanath. This is the Bani of Param Sant Satguru Huzur Swamiji. He says that all the world is blind. Why? In the beginning, the Almighty Lord put the path to meet Him within us, and then He sent us into this world. And if that inner eye opens, then we will reunite with the Lord. But through millions of yugas or epochs and incarnations, we have remained extroverted. Lord Kal, as in Kal Niranjan, the false god or negative power, god of death and time, Lord Kal has placed the curtain of mind and maya or illusion over the soul and has cast it into the outer world. And becoming extroverted, the soul is always rushing forward, never looking back, to realize the true home that it left so long ago. Swamiji from the Sar Bachan Poetry. Everyone is wandering outside aimlessly. No one catches hold of the Shabd within, the inner light and sound, the positive power within. Baba Somanath. It is just like the water and the waves. Our entire lifespan is consumed counting the waves. Millions of yugas, or vast epochs of time, have passed in this way. But what is the nature of the wave? It is composed of water. But if we are under the illusion that the wave is something in itself, if we forget the wave is only water, if we think of the wave as something separate from the water, then we do not understand its real nature. In the same way, all the captive jiva souls, becoming infatuated with the pleasures created by mind and maya, or illusion, rush about in the external world and waste their allotted span of life. Under this illusion, the jiva soul says, "Who is equal to me? What shortcoming is there in me?" We may think this, we may think that, but when the breaths finish, what remains? Only a heap of earth, nothing more. We have become so identified with this heap of earth that we think it is our true self, and in our ignorance we assert, "Who can compare with me?" Swamiji Maharaj, the mind of the world has become attached to work, just business. The mind is enthralled by the taste of worldly pleasures, controlled by karma. It remains stuck in worldly pursuits. Baba Somanath. The mind is stuck fast in the worldly pleasures, so much so that it cannot free itself from them, even for a second. As soon as we wake up in the morning, the worldly affairs rush in upon us, and we carry them with us all the day long. After eating, drinking, and wandering here and there, in the evening we return home, have our food, and fall asleep. In the morning we wake up and begin all over again. And because of this attachment to the world, we constantly remain involved in the bad deeds. The veil of ignorance has been cast over us, and we don't even attempt to lift that veil. Sanchit, Pralab, Kriyaman, and Agaman. These are the 4 types of karma covering our soul. If we remove all thought of past and future karmas from our heart and focus on achieving purity in the Kriyaman karmas, the karmas we are creating at present, then the cause of past and future karmas will be removed. But if instead we become trapped by our previous bad Kriyaman karmas and continue on in the same way as before, then the past or future karmas cannot be removed. Our load of sins goes on increasing, and we are making our way back to the wheel of 84 lakhs, countless millions of births and deaths on this wheel of transmigration. Swamiji Maharaj from the Sar Bachan Radhasoami Poetry. Trapped. Now the creature became very dirty, held fast in Kal's snare. The jiva soul has given up in despair and has become utterly defiled. Baba Somanath. What is the snare of Kal? It is this very karma. The soul is trapped in the snare of karma. Swamiji. The Master proclaims ceaselessly, search for the Shabd within, search for the inner light and sound inside. Baba Somanath. The Satguru constantly tries to make us understand. What does he tell us? Brother, take your mind away from the disturbance of this world, from me and mine, from enjoying the sense pleasures, and fix it within at the point between the two eyes, the third eye center, the seat of the soul. When the mind becomes focused, that inner power will call you of itself. That power is the sound current, the word, the Akash Bani, the etheric song. Concentrate your attention on that sound current. Do not look this way and that. Swamiji: but the jivas do not heed the Guru's teachings, so how can the eye of the heart be opened? Baba Somanath: why don't we obey the Guru's words? Why don't we give up the path of the mind? Until we obey the Master's instructions, the eye of the heart will not open. The words of the Guru are the only key to open the inner way. Therefore it is said, Mantra Moolam Guru. The Guru's words are the primal mantra. The Guru's words unlock the inner door. If we do not obey him, the inner way will remain closed. Swamiji Maharaj: only some rare worthy one stands firm on the support of the Master's words. Baba Somanath: as soon as the rare worthy disciples hear the Guru's words, they take them to their hearts. They take them to heart. The instant they hear those words, they act upon them. But the unworthy disciples take the Guru's words as an ordinary thing and discard them. There are 3 grades of worthy disciples: high, middle, and low. Who are the worthy disciples of the highest order? They meet with the Satguru, the true Guru, if emancipation is written in their destiny. Whoever has once attained the inner darshan or vision of the perfect Satguru, whoever has learned the inner secret, their work is accomplished. This is the highest grade of worthy disciple. Such a disciple is like the pearl oyster who swims to the surface of the water and opens its mouth to receive the raindrops that fall during the Swanti Nakshatra. As soon as it catches that Swanti raindrop, it closes its mouth, and from that drop it creates the priceless divine pearl in its within. Then comes the worthy disciple of the middle grade. This grade of disciple is like the drop of water on a lotus leaf. The water falls on the leaf of the lotus and sparkles like a pearl. But that water drop is not a true pearl. It gradually evaporates and disappears, leaving nothing behind. The lowest level of worthy disciple is like the water thrown on a heated iron. That water bubbles up like pearls, but turns instantly to hot steam and evaporates away. So Swamiji Maharaj says that as soon as those rare worthy disciples hear the Guru's words, they mold their lives according to their instructions. They act on his words and do not allow their minds to wander here and there. They never listen to the advice of the mind. Swamiji Maharaj: whoever stands firm on the Master's words, the mind plays tricks and sets traps to ensnare them. Baba Somanath: what does Swamiji Maharaj tell us? When the disciples become determined to follow the Master's instructions, at that time the mind, or negative power, the Kal, readies all his forces. The mind will increase or decrease whatever thing the disciple considers dear and precious. For instance, someone else may desire to hoard up millions of rupees, but if instead of gaining they suddenly lose all their fortune, then they will say, "So many times I have beseeched my master for riches, but what has he given me? Nothing. If he cannot fulfill this small request, how is he going to grant me emancipation when the time comes? I should give up the Guru." In this way, the mind troubles the disciples with its devious counsel and does not allow them to do the Guru's devotion. If, after all this, we still don't obey the mind, then the mind afflicts us with diseases. if someone seeks the aid of a doctor but gets no relief, then the mind says, your guru is not able to remove even this ordinary illness. How will he deliver you from Lord Kal, the negative power who devours all? Give up such a guru. And then bringing some doubt or another before us, the mind lures us away from the path of grace that leads to deliverance from his domain. Swamiji Maharaj. As soon as the creatures forget, Kal devises his game. As soon as the creatures forget, Kal devises his game, devises his plans, and sets the game in motion. He employs every ruse to lead the jiva astray. Baba Somanath. If all his other efforts fail to divert us, then the mind comes and stands before us as an enemy. Challenging us to battle, he strives to defeat us. And in the end, if he emerges victorious, then we cry, so this is what it has come to. The Guru could not manage even this much for me. Now I am done with him. So in this way, the mind puts some worldly thought before us, some egotism, some profit or loss, some sorrow or happiness, and tries to throw us down from the spiritual path. Swamiji, if the jiva falls short in the Guru's devotion or bhakti, Kal stirs up trouble in so many ways. Baba Somanath, the mind never lets us wake up in the morning and sit for meditation. This is the greatest obstacle. And if by some means we overcome this obstacle even a little bit, then the mind will come up with some other way to interfere. But this obstacle is the greatest of all, and every disciple is troubled by it right from the very beginning. The mind will never allow the disciple to meditate, but if by chance the mind allows us to do a little meditation, if it leaves the outer tastes a little bit, if it gives up egotism for a short while, even then it will not allow us to perfect the meditation. It will bring fresh obstacles in our path. Swamiji, he may come as a friend to mislead us. He may come as an enemy to threaten us. Baba Somanath. Sometimes the mind will reason with the devotee. Why are you involved in this struggle? Give it up. What are you getting from it? Has the world gone away? What are you trying to accomplish? What is this Radhasoami? What is this meditation? What will you gain? Will you gain anything at all by sitting with your eyes closed? Sometimes in the spirit of friendship, the mind will offer you advice. If you do not listen to him, then he will set himself up as your enemy. By some means or another, he has led you away from the practice of devotion. Sometimes the mind works as your mother, sometimes as your sister, sometimes as your aunt, or sometimes another relation. There was one satsangi here who was ready to go to the Punjab to take initiation from Huzur Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj. When he gave up eating meat and fish, his mother would quarrel with him about it every day. Then she sent him to his native village and told his brothers and other relatives in the village to serve him meat and fish. But he wouldn't eat that. Who is the one that keeps bringing obstacles before us? It is the mind. Assuming the form of mother or wife or father or grandson or wealth, the mind tries to take us away from the path of spirituality. Sometimes this very mind takes the form of our enemy. Sometimes it takes the form of our friend. The whole world is the form of mind. Swamiji Maharaj in the Sar Bachan Radhasoami poetry. Sometimes he, Kal, or the mind, afflicts us with sickness. He has spread traps of every description. Baba Somanath. If the disciple resists all the mind's persuasions and still remains firm in their devotion, then what does the mind do? He afflicts the disciple with some incurable disease. Swamiji, this jiva never tastes the Shabd and always remains in suffering and sorrow. Baba Somanath. So what happens? The soul of the disciple does not turn within. It does not establish a connection with the Guru and does not attain the inner nectar. Remaining extrovert, that soul wanders lost in the outer world. Swamiji, but if the Guru showers his grace, the jiva gains liberation, riding on the current of Shabd, the sound current. Baba Somanath, there was a dear one here who came from Pandharpur. Once he said to me, Babaji, this devotion you are doing is very good. I also used to perform these practices regularly, but now I have given them up. When my daughter died 5 years ago on that very day, I left all this aside. I gave it up. So I told him, friend, what connection is there between the death of your daughter and the emancipation of your soul? Even if you die yourself, never give up the path of spirituality. For a few days we maintain the spiritual practices, then we think we've had enough, our purpose is fulfilled. Let's give up now. Can this type of devotion be called spirituality? Swamiji Maharaj, when the jiva soul drinks the nectar of Shabd, the fire of this world can no longer burn him. When the jiva soul drinks the nectar of Shabd, the fire of this world can no longer burn him. Baba Somanath, when the Satguru is gracious upon you, when the Master manifests in your within, when you withdraw your thoughts from the world and view it with indifference, then your thoughts will merge into the Shabd. Now, when you close your eyes and sit in meditation, the mind is not sitting there with you. It is wandering about somewhere outside. Until the mind establishes that inner connection, how will you hear the Shabd? If the mind is wandering outside, then who is present there to listen to that inner sound? For this reason, Swamiji Maharaj says, when the perfect Satguru is gracious, he manifests before the devotee. Then all the attractions of the world fall away, and the mind remains fixed within. When the moon rises in the night sky, the moon bird is irresistibly drawn to it. In the same way, when the Master manifests in our within, the mind becomes absorbed in his form. Then the Shabd comes of itself, because the primal form of the Master is the Shabd. This is all the grace of the Master. Many people say, my horse has won the race. This is the Guru's grace. Friend, what is the meaning of all this? These worldly things are not the grace of the Guru. These worldly things are not the grace of the Guru. They are all the grace of Lord Kal. When once we become absorbed in the Shabd and become the form of that Shabd, then the fire of the world cannot burn us. All the worldly cravings and desires are extinguished, while our within remains filled with the desires of me and mine. We remain burning in that fire of the world. But once the mind becomes absorbed in the Shabd, then that worldly fire has no more power to burn us, no more power over us. Desire for the world possesses us and drives us from place to place. We carry that desire with us day and night and create karmas to fulfill it. But when that desire becomes absorbed in the Nam, the Shabd, then what is left to drag us about in the world and keep us burning? Swamiji Maharaj, also known as Sant Radhasoami Sahib or Seth Shivdayal Singh, in his Sar Bachan Poetry says, everything of the world appears flawed and false. Only the devotion of the Guru is true. Only Guru Bhakti is true. Baba Somanath. Those souls who remain absorbed in the Nam or the Shabd, day and night, regard the world as a corrupt place. They understand the bonds that keep us shackled, and they see clearly the nets that Kal has spread. Now our love and affection for this outer world is so strong that we cannot leave it. So how can our love become attached to the Lord? Love is the only one. Either you can attach it to the Nam, or you can attach it to the world. Says Swamiji Maharaj, going into the shelter of Radhasoami, the Lord of the soul, the jiva soul swims across the ocean of existence, this ocean of samsara. Baba Somanath Sahib, whoever does the practice of Surat and Shabd will cross over the ocean of existence. And in that final sentence of this satsang discourse, Baba Somanath referred to the practice of Surat Shabd Yoga. The disciple, at the time of their initiation by a living master, receives the meditation instructions of Surat Shabd Yoga. Surat means the attention faculty of the soul, becoming yoked to, paying total attention to, becoming completely absorbed in the Shabd, the Nam, the audible life stream, the sound current, the positive power within, becoming one with it. Surat Shabd Yoga, inner light and sound, meditation. What a great discourse of Baba Somanath, dealing with real stuff, dealing with real issues, meeting the needs of the satsangis, meeting the needs of the sangat by dealing with our everyday struggles with the mind, the negative power, negative thinking that causes people to forget, to be distracted, caught up in various excuses and illusions at every turn through life, dealing with the role of the Kal Niranjan, the negative power of the mind. What a great discourse, dealing with everyday issues and struggles of human beings seeking to follow this path of the masters. A satsang discourse, a spiritual discourse by Baba Somanath, the great devotee of Huzur Baba Sawan Singh, commenting on mystic verses of the poetry of Swamiji Maharaj in his Sar Bachan Radhasoami poetry. This satsang discourse of Baba Somanath is one of many that recently have appeared in English, translated by Christopher McMahon, who also has translated a collection of mystic hymns of Baba Somanath of South India. Send me an email if you'd like to get links to the bhajans of Baba Somanath and the satsang discourses of Baba Somanath. If you'd like to get a link to the Sarbachan Radhasoami poetry of Swamiji Maharaj, you can do that as well. My email address is james@spiritualawakeningradio.com, james@spiritualawakeningradio.com. Visit my website, spiritualawakeningradio.com as well. And I thank you for joining me today on this Sant Mat Satsang Podcast edition of Spiritual Awakening Radio. It is my pleasure to share this wonderful discourse, one of many that have now appeared in English, featuring the teachings of Baba Somanath. Tune in again for the next edition of Spiritual Awakening Radio.